This is one of the craziest pieces of tech that I've ever reviewed. It looks like I'm wearing just a pair of very bulky, thick-rimmed glasses, but it's actually a full computer on my face and also on my wrist. These are the Meta Ray-Ban displays, and they're one of the first smart glasses to hit the market and hit the mainstream that actually features a screen in the lens. Not only that, the screen is invisible. You can't even see when someone's using it. I bought the Meta Ray-Ban displays a week ago for the full retail price of $800. These were not sent to me. This is not a promo pair or anything like that. I've worn them for the last week, and in today's video, I'm gonna tell you whether these glasses are worth it and whether you should spend $800 on a cutting-edge piece of technology. Let's start off this review talking about the buying experience, because it truly is an experience. You can't just walk into your local Sunglass Hut or Best Buy and just buy a pair of these. You actually have to schedule an appointment to do a try-on session, and then once your try-on session is over, if they have the size and the color that you want in stock, then you can buy them. And unfortunately, at least from my experience, they are not often in stock. Each store gets like 5 or 10 units every day or every other day, and they sell out very quickly. In fact, I live in Philadelphia, and I had to drive 2 hours away to New York 3 days after the release to even get a try-on session. I had scheduled it like as soon as the drop happened, and unfortunately, even then, I still had to go to a store 2 hours away, 3 days after the release. And from what I can tell, these try-on sessions, at least for every store within 2 hours of where I live in Philadelphia, are completely booked up until like November, mid-November. But hey, it's brand new technology, everyone's excited about it, and even with an $800 price tag, it makes sense that with this limited quantity that's available and the amount of people who are just stoked, it's gonna be difficult to get. Now, eventually, I'm sure in like 2 or 3 months, it's gonna be easy to walk into your local Best Buy and buy a pair. You may still have to do the try-on session or demo or whatever it is, but generally, I think give it a couple months after the holidays and you'll be able to buy a pair no problem. And not to spoil the entire review, but seriously, if you're interested in grabbing these, wait, because right now, not only are they hard to get, but they don't do that much. Meta has promised that they're gonna add an app store, so hopefully that changes very soon, but we don't know how long that's gonna take, so I do think that it's worth waiting a couple months before you get these, just to see how things progress. Also, hopefully, it'll be a lot easier to buy these than it is right now. So when you pick up your new pair of Meta Ray-Ban displays, you get a couple things inside the box. Obviously, you get the glasses themselves. They actually come inside this foldable case, which is honestly pretty cool. In fact, I hate to say it, it's one of my favorite parts about the entire package. So unfolded, it comes in this sort of triangular shape. You can throw in the glasses like this. You snap in the glasses to this magnetic sort of clip here, which charges them. Then you fold it back up. It's got this magnetic latch, clips together really nicely. It's got a USB-C port on the side. You do get a lot of extra battery life with this because of course it does feature a battery inside the case. Pretty much like every other Meta Ray-Ban and Meta Oakley device. As someone who reviews sneakers on my main channel, I'm a big fan of leather and leather quality, and I've got to say that while this leather could be synthetic, I'm not totally sure, it does feel a little bit more supple, a little bit softer, and a little bit nicer quality than the leather that you usually find on Meta Ray-Ban cases. I will say though that the case does feel a bit less sturdy than those cases because it doesn't have that sort of hard shell frame that's I think inside those cases. The only sort of like hard area on this case is the battery in the bottom, so that's the only area that you're gonna get protection for your glasses. I mean, obviously this sort of triangular shape is somewhat protective, but the top is very soft, so the arms of the glasses may get dinged up if they bounce around in your bag. Now, since we're already talking about the case, I want to talk about some of the problems that I've had with this case. This case is big. It's really big. I mean, granted, the glasses are big, and you probably do need a case about this size to hold the glasses, but it's a chunk, and it's really difficult to throw into your pocket, throw into even your like car side thing that I have. Like, I don't want to have this sitting in my car. When I leave my car, I throw it into like the inner armrest. Even in there, not a lot of room for it. It's not the easiest case to carry around with you, and even if they remove the battery, it would still be just as chunky because the glasses themselves are quite chunky. Now, one really cool thing about this case is that when you remove the glasses, you can actually fold the case up and it becomes flat. And it's actually a really, really small and very usable glasses case size. The only thickness in the entire case is the battery inside. Obviously, you can't keep the glasses in the case when it's this size, but I love the fact that this is something that it can do. This really solves a lot of issues for me when I'm wearing the glasses. I fold up the case like this, then I can throw it in my pocket easily, then I can throw it in my backpack easily. I really like that a lot. So the first thing you get inside the box is, of course, the glasses themselves and the case, but the next thing that you get inside the box is actually the neural band. So this is the way that you control these glasses, and it's one of the most interesting parts of the entire package. So this is actually an SEMG band that reads your muscle and nerve signals that are sent from your brain to your hand, and those little tiny electrical pulses actually control what you're doing on the glasses, and it's really, really amazing. We'll go into depth about that in a couple minutes, but this band, honestly pretty incredible. Now, you do have to kind of really lock it down on your wrist. I have smaller wrists. I went with a medium-sized band, and it does kind of go all the way up to the end, but it is magnetic, so it's very easy to take on and off, at least to unlatch. It's actually kind of difficult to slide this band here because there's some ridges, but this is a really interesting input interface, and seriously, I think it's one of the coolest parts about this entire set of glasses. Obviously, I said that about the case too. too, but I think the entire piece of tech or the entire package is really impressive. So this comes inside the box as well in its own little separate box. There are a few different sizes for these bands. There's a 1, a 2, and a 3. This is a size 2, which is the medium size, and while I have small wrists, they're pretty medium-sized wrists across the board. So I went with the size 2. Also, for the sizes of the glasses, I went with a regular size pair of glasses, even though I've got a slightly larger head. These fit fine. You can get larger glasses if you need to. In addition to the instruction manuals that you get inside the box, you get a USB-C cable, which you use to charge up the case, which of course in turn charges up the glasses when you pop the glasses into the case. You also get another cable, which is a proprietary charging cable for the wristband. Kind of has to sit in there, I think in the right orientation, or does it work both ways? It might actually work both ways. It's magnetic, so it clips on there easily. Your wristband won't really fall off if you shake it. I'm fine with there not being a USB-C port on this wristband because obviously being on your wrist, if you're sweating or if there's grossness around you, it won't kind of infect the port. Instead, you've got just this little two-prong situation that kind of wirelessly charges your wristband, which is nice. But now let's talk about the functionality of both of these devices because you really do have to use them in tandem. While yes, you can use the glasses with the armbands, they do have a sensitive panel right there that you can use. And like every other Meta Ray-Ban, they do have a camera shutter button, but it is significantly easier to use these glasses with voice commands through Meta AI and also the neural band, which this is not a thing that you can do with the neural band, so I don't know why I'm doing this. So let's talk first about the thing that everyone is most interested in, and that is the display. Now, the display on these glasses is completely invisible for anyone looking at you, which is incredible. It feels like you've got the superpower. Oh, I just got a notification, that's cool. Did you guys see that? I don't think you guys saw that. Seriously, the screen is invisible. Now the display is a 600 pixel by 600 pixel display, which is small, but because it's like right next to your eye, it does feel bigger than you would think it is. I will say that this display is not like a standard display that you'd find in smart glasses or VR glasses. Instead, what this is sort of a heads-up display. It's clear, you can see through it. The images that you're looking at are somewhat transparent, but surprisingly, the color and the clarity of the screen is really decent. Now, as you may already know, these smart glasses only come with one display. It's only in the right lens. Honestly, it's a little frustrating because when I use it, I kind of look like an idiot. Like, check this out. So I'm gonna scroll through my Instagram messages. I don't look cool. Not just because I'm wearing the glasses, but definitely got a cross-eyed thing going on. And to be honest with you, because it's only in one eye, it does take a little bit of time to get used to. And that's because I find that sometimes it feels a bit, I wouldn't say fuzzy, but I do get double vision a little bit because I'm only getting the image in my right eye. My brain is kind of interlacing the images from both eyes together. And because of that, there is some shared vision, obviously in both eyes. So in the area that I see the screen in my right eye, my left eye is kind of seeing that there's nothing there and it's creating this odd sort of like, it really, I guess the best way to describe it is like a double vision effect. It's really interesting the way that it works. And because I'm trying to focus on it, my left eye is naturally gonna try and focus on it as well. So not only do I look silly, but also it does make looking at it somewhat difficult. But you do get used to it. Like right now, it's taking me a second, but I'm starting to focus on it. Honestly, it's a lot easier if you close your left eye and look at it, but it's not terrible with both eyes open. You obviously should keep both eyes open when you use this. Now, I will say that I like the concept. I like that it's sort of a heads-up notification area on your glasses. That's fine. I get the idea, but I wish that they had put it in both eyes. Even if they just put it like off to one side on both eyes, I get that that probably is not the easiest thing to do because everyone's eyes are different. They're different distances apart and things like that. I've used other smart glasses that are very similar to these, albeit a little bit bulkier and not as mainstream, specifically the Inmo Air 3. Now that set of glasses actually has screens in both eyes. Like it's a technology that's been out for a couple months at this point, at least that I'm aware of, and I'm not cross-eyed or squinting as much in those glasses as I am in these. In fact, if you guys want to see a full comparison between those glasses from a Chinese competitor and these glasses, let me know in the comment section down below. There's honestly a lot of pros and cons on both glasses. Those glasses are like an Android phone on your face. These glasses are just like a special Meta experience on your face. These ones I think look better. They're gonna have more support long term because it's Meta, and I think more people will be excited about these, honestly, than the other ones. But hey, it is what it is. We'll get into this in a second, but because there's no app store on these glasses, it's very limited what you can do. The Inmos, though, actually have the Android store, or at least a lot of different Android apps that are available. So because of that, you can literally throw on YouTube and watch a YouTube video in your glasses with both eyes. It's pretty impressive. So honestly, I think it could be a really interesting comparison. So seriously, let me know in the comment section down below. But like I said, the actual clarity of the screen, the color of the screen, and the responsiveness of the screen is pretty nice. Now, you'll notice that the B-roll shots that I have of this screen suck. They're terrible. And the reason for that is because it is so difficult to capture shots of what I'm seeing in the glasses. In fact, the best way to understand how this looks is the promo imagery from Meta. Like what they have on their website. In fact, I'll have editor Tim overlay a good amount of it throughout this portion of the video. That is a lot closer to what you actually see than what you're seeing in my B-roll shots because the colors are not totally right. The focus is so difficult to get. Plus, like when you're not wearing these, they've got sensors to know when they're on your face. So actually trying to get them to stay on is really tough as well. So I'm doing my best with these B-roll shots. Most of them are gonna be vertical because you can't really fit your phone in there to get the non-vertical shots, and my camera, I can't get my camera to focus on it. Hey, I'm gonna film some more B-roll after this, so maybe I'll get better shots and they're gonna be overlaid and they're way better than what I'm saying, but it's really difficult to capture what you see see. So in a lot of the reviews that you see online, you're gonna see these garbage images, and I promise you it looks way better than that. Now I'm currently scrolling through the menu. It's very bright, it's very colorful, and I'm assuming you guys can't see anything, right? Like it's completely private, which is very, very cool. I like the fact that I can go in, read an Instagram message from my wife. Like she said, what'd she say? She sent me a heart. I can read this heart. You guys can't see it, but yo, shout out to my wife for the heart. Appreciate it. But you can scroll through your messages or read your messages and no one will have any idea what's going on the screen itself. You can hear it because there are speakers on these glasses and they're not quiet, but no one else can see it. Like seriously, look, can you guys see that? I'm certain you guys can't see it. So the privacy factor is very cool, which is ironic because these glasses have cameras on them, and I've always mentioned in my reviews of Meta Ray-Ban glasses how you gotta be careful with these cameras because it's kind of like weird to show up to like a kid's water park with a camera on your glasses. I don't wear these to events that my daughter is going to. I don't wear these to the beach. Well, one, because I don't want to ruin them at the beach, but two, because it's kind of weird. It's interesting that you've got this very personal sort of private screen, but you've also got this very like almost invasive camera on your face. That's a whole nother discussion, and I think it's important to once again reiterate, please don't film anything weird, you weirdos. Stick to the normal stuff, stick to the rivers and the lakes you are used to. That's an old reference. But yeah, the screen itself is really, really cool, and it feels like you're wearing spy glasses. It's nuts. While no, I don't think the implementation or the placement of the screen is perfect, I do think you can get used to it, and I love the fact that it's more of a notification pop-up or a light HUD display like what you have in, you know, a fighter jet or newer cars that have your speedometer on the windshield. Like, that's cool. I really like that. I get what they were going for. I do think eventually it will get better, and there will probably be more screens in your lenses. I wonder why Meta didn't put 2 displays in these glasses. Like, I know they could have. Would it have been too expensive? Would they have lost money on it? I'm assuming they're probably losing money on these. These are probably not cheap. Or are they doing the Apple thing where like they give you iterative improvements, and while they can do it, they don't want to give it to you just yet, so that next year I go out and I buy the 2nd generation of these with both displays and I'm like, oh, this is amazing. There's 2 screens. This is what we've been asking for all along. I'm assuming it's a little bit of both, would be my guess. But either way, what we have right now is still cool. But now let's talk about interacting with the glasses and also the interface itself. So like most other Meta Ray-Ban glasses, you can swipe on the sides of the glasses to raise or lower the volume. You can tap to play or pause. You can click the shutter button right there to take a photo, or hold it down to take a video. And obviously you've still got your LED. Is the LED on this side? I think the LED, or is it on this side? The LED is on this side. So you've got the tactile on glasses controls, and while yes, you generally can control the glasses, or at least control some of the features of the glasses by just swiping or clicking, the 2 other main ways to control the glasses are the best ways to do it. In fact, I barely ever swipe the glasses. In fact, I accidentally tap them all the time and start songs. I almost wish that that wasn't part of the glasses. So the first way, a way that you're probably familiar with if you've seen any of my other Meta Ray-Ban reviews, is Meta AI. Now, Meta AI is their virtual assistant. It's pretty decent. It's similar to Siri in its capabilities, at least in my opinion. You can say things like, hey Meta, take a picture. And there we go. Or this one's really cool. Check this out. Let me try and get it near the mic so you guys can hear it. Hey Meta, what am I looking at?
You are looking at a camera setup, possibly for photography or videography. There is a camera mounted on a tripod with a light source nearby.
I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it'll tell you what you're looking at. It's wild. Now, it doesn't get into like total specifics. Like it'll tell you you're looking at an iPhone, but it won't say what model of iPhone. It does a lot of cool things. Obviously, it can respond to text messages. You can play and pause music. You can respond to messages. You can control the glasses in a lot of different ways. You can start apps. It's a pretty useful thing, especially when you don't have your hands free. As cool as it is, it's something that's available on other Meta glasses, but also on your phone. But the newest and most interesting input method is the brand new neural band, which, like I mentioned before, reads the electrical pulses from your brain to your hand and controls the glasses that way. The band itself is pretty comfortable. Like I said, you have to get it sized to make sure that you're grabbing one that fits you correctly. The material, the mesh material on the outside is nice. It does have this little bump on the top that kind of sits on the top of your wrist like that. And it does a really good job of picking up those signals. Like it's very, very accurate. There is a bit of a learning curve, which took me about maybe 30 minutes total to kind of get the gestures perfect to a point where I could do it without thinking about it. But sometimes you do have to kind of work through those initial like, okay, is this how I swipe? Okay, if I swipe this way, is it gonna work? If I swipe that way, is it not gonna work? You're gonna have to work through it a little bit, but generally, once you get it down pat, it's seamless. So to give you a quick run through of the controls, there's like 3 or 4 main ones. You've got select, which is like this, pinch your thumb and your pointer finger. There's go back, which is pinching your thumb and your middle finger. There's wake from sleep and sleep by double tapping on your thumb and your middle finger. And then there's swiping. So you can put your thumb on your fist like this, swipe right and left, kind of like using a joystick, and then up and down, and that's how you control the interface. Now there's one other really cool feature, which I don't use very often, but that is pinching and then turning to turn up and down volume or to zoom in and out of a photo. That's really cool and it works really well. Okay, let me rephrase that. It works very well when I get it to work. It's one of those, I guess, gestures that I haven't totally figured out the best way to do it yet, but the other gestures, perfect, no issues. Now, one thing that I found bothered some people, in fact, some people really hated this, but I'm sure it's something you probably could turn off, is that there's a haptic motor inside the wristband itself, so you know when the input actually goes through, which I will say is very helpful when in the morning, if you're connecting your band to your glasses, it's not always immediate. So I kind of tap my fingers until I finally start getting that haptic feedback, and then I know that it's working. That's a feature I really like, but I had some friends say, oh, I hate that it feels like it's like buzzing in my arm. It's something that if you've worn a smartwatch before, you're used to, but if you haven't, I get why it'd be a bit disconcerting, but it's something you get used to, and it's become a really good way for me to know when I'm actually putting in the correct inputs, and it lets you know when you're learning how to use the inputs that you're doing it the right way. Now, what's cool about this input method is that unlike something like the Apple Vision Pros, you don't need to have your hand in front of your glasses. There's no cameras or sensors on these glasses that are looking at your hand to determine what you're doing. You can do it down at your side. It's literally all brainwaves, or I guess the little electrical pulses that it's sensing, and you can do it in your pocket. Like, it doesn't really matter. It's super, super cool. Maybe cut that part. So now that you know how to control the interface with the neural band, let's talk about the interface. There are 3 main pages, at least right now, with no app store. So the first is the main page that you get. It's essentially just your notifications, and then it's Meta AI. That's the landing page that you get to as soon as these glasses turn on. That's what you get to when you click to go back. In this case, I've got one Instagram DM. Above that, I've got the date, I've got the time, and then below that, I've got Ask Meta AI. So that's the main screen. That's kind of like the home screen. It's a small sort of thing down here in my vision. Now, if I swipe to the right, that's where you get the menu of all your apps, which you can change, you can repin depending on what you want. At the time of filming this video, a week after these came out, there's not a lot of apps, but there are a few. You've got WhatsApp, you've got Instagram, unfortunately only Instagram messages. So you can send and respond to DMs, you can watch Reels, but only through DMs, which is really frustrating. And I mean, that's about all you can do with Instagram. You've got calls, you've got Facebook Messenger, you've got music, which is Spotify, you've got a camera, which we'll talk about in a second, you've got photos to look at all your photos, you've got captions, which is actually a really cool feature that we'll talk about, you've got maps, you've got Hypertrail, which is a game that comes preloaded on the device itself, and then you've got tutorials. So that's all on the side menu. You swipe all the way to the other side, you've got camera, you've got captions, you've got music, you've got volume, you've got brightness, turn on and off audio only, turn on and off do not disturb, and then you've got settings, but settings has like 2 settings. It's do you want messages to wake up your glasses, and 2, there's display tilt. So like you can't change where the display is in your field of view, but you can tilt it. Like say maybe your eyes are kind of off kilter a bit, you can tilt it to kind of look straight in your vision. For me, it seems fine. Right now, there's not really a lot to do, and even when you go to some of the apps, like I mentioned before, like Instagram, it's really just like one thing from those apps. So Instagram, just messaging. Calls, you gotta use Meta AI to call. Messenger, it's just Facebook Messenger. WhatsApp, you might start to sense the theme here that the only apps that you can use are Meta apps. There's no iMessage, there's no texting, it's purely Meta apps. So I can respond to WhatsApp. I have 3 people that I talk to on WhatsApp. Maps is really cool because it actually overlays a map onto the glasses itself, and it's like really, really rad. It's like exactly what you'd want from a pair of smart glasses, and it's a feature that I would probably use the most if it worked. Now let me clarify that. It works. Like it functions. You can see it on the glasses, I can see where I'm at. I can click to say like, hey Meta, find me the closest coffee shop. And it'll find me the closest coffee shop. Unfortunately, that's Dunkin' Donuts. But here's the problem. As of right now, it's only for walking maps. There's no live traffic. There's no driving directions. It's purely walking directions. Not only that, it only works within a very small radius. So for example, I'm in Philadelphia. If I said, take me to New York City, it couldn't. It'll show me like a line of where I could walk, but it won't take me there. It won't give me turn-by-turn directions. It says, that's too far. That's out of reach. I'm not sure why. It should have the capabilities to do that. I mean, no one's gonna be walking for, what is it, like 2 days to get from here to New York? It's 100 miles. Obviously, no one's gonna do that, but the fact that it won't even tell you how to get there on your glasses is kind of frustrating. Now, I do understand that they don't wanna give you driving directions right off the bat because I have driven in these and it's terrifying. If you get a notification, it pops up and you're like, whoa. Or I tried to, actually the first time I got these, use driving directions to drive home from the train station, and bro, it didn't work. It gave me walking directions, and they kept changing because I kept moving because I was driving. There is a feature that will turn off the display if it senses that you're moving over a certain speed, which I'm definitely gonna enable if I ever wear these when I'm driving again, because that was terrifying. Maps, honestly, unless you live in a big city and you're walking everywhere and you don't, for some reason, know where some stuff is, they're kinda useless. The main reason that I use Google Maps is not because I need to know where to go, because generally I know where I'm going. It's for traffic updates. The use case is very niche. However, the overlay of the map on your glasses, very cool. But it's really just kind of a cool thing. I will say there's definitely potential there, but as you might have been sensing throughout this entire review, this is a very first-gen product. This is a very early adopter product. It's not something that I think the general public will be using at all, at least the maps. Now, the game that they give you is called Hypertrail. It's actually sort of a like a maze game where you try and get the ball into the hole. There's different things to avoid, like red spiky balls or like portal-style portals that you can kind of go through. It's cool. You control it with your hand like you would a joystick. I'm on level 22 right now. I am a baller at this game, I'm not gonna lie. But it's cool to have this on there. It is really cool that they give you a game. Now, hopefully there will be more games I mean, there's gotta be if they drop an app store, but it's cool that they have that there. Photos is probably one of my most used apps because I'm just looking back at the photos that I've taken. Again, you can zoom in and out of photos by clicking and then zooming like this, which is really rad. Obviously, you can watch videos, which is very cool, and I think it's one of the most useful features on this pair of glasses. And that brings me to the next app, Camera. Now, this is by far one of the best features of the entire pair of glasses, and that's because the camera on these glasses is, one, the more upgraded camera that we got in the recent Meta Wayfarer Gen 2s, the 12 megapixel 3K video recording camera, and it looks really good. I'm constantly surprised by how good the camera quality is. In fact, here's some photos that I took in New York City. As you can see, they're pretty decent. Now they're only vertical, unfortunately. That's all you can shoot. You can't shoot anything horizontal, but they look really good. Way better than you'd expect the camera in the arm of a pair of glasses to look. Now, of course, I took some comparison photos with my favorite mobile camera, the iPhone 17 Pro Max, and obviously the iPhone is gonna blow this camera out of the water. Now, I will say this, from a distance, not super different. Where the glasses differ are color science and sharpness. These glasses oversaturate the crap out of images. If you look at a photo taken on my iPhone versus a photo taken with these glasses of something colorful, the colors are just popping on the glasses to a point where it's like, it's too much. The colors in the iPhone obviously are gonna be a lot more true to life, and if that's sort of the look that you're going for, the iPhone's the way to go. Surprisingly enough, the glasses are not that much cheaper than the iPhone. I mean, shoot, if you're buying these just for a camera, maybe buy a phone instead, I don't know. Video quality is also really decent, way better than I expected it. When you zoom in, yeah, it's gonna be grainy. It's not gonna be anywhere close to the zoom in on an iPhone. The colors, again, gonna be overly saturated. They do add a lot of heavy contrast, and I will say in the actual app that you download the photos from your glasses to your phone on, it'll use AI to kind of straighten out the images for you and then try and color correct for you. It happens right in front of you when you download these images. They all kind of like do this and then change color, which is fine. But again, I don't love the way that the AI color corrects. I think the images coming out of the camera are okay, and they do look, I guess, a bit better after the AI does some stuff with them, but still not amazing. However, for social media, they get the job done. But again, videos and photos, only vertical. And again, it's because Meta loves vertical content, and these glasses are made specifically for Meta. Now, obviously, because this is the same camera that you get in the other Meta smart glasses, it can do all the same things. You can control it with your voice or with the neural band. You can live stream from it if you want to get a POV live stream, which is pretty rad. I think that's a really, really cool feature. And overall, it's impressive. It's nice to have a camera with you whenever you're wearing these glasses. Again, don't be creepy with it, but like say you're walking around New York City, you want to take a picture of the Empire State Building, yeah, it's useful for that. And seriously, surprisingly good. Like genuinely surprisingly good. Way better than the previous Meta Gen 1s, but still not modern cell phone quality. But here's where the Meta Ray-Ban displays differ from the Meta Ray-Ban Gen 2s, and that's that you actually have a viewfinder on these glasses, which is the best part. The fact that you can actually line up your image, the fact that earlier, remember how I was trying to figure out where the LED was on this pair of glasses, like when it's on my face? I was able to see the viewfinder and put my finger in front of the lens, and I was like, okay, that's the lens because my finger's in front of it and I can see it. The viewfinder changes the game completely. When you're trying to film content or take pictures with the other Meta Ray-Bans, it's really tough because you'll take a photo and then download it on your phone and be like, wow, the person I'm taking a photo of should be right here in the middle, but they're like here, or in the worst case scenario, here, because the lens is off to the side. With the display, you can actually center them. It's incredibly useful, and it's by far, in my opinion, the best part of these glasses. I know that sounds stupid, but I love cameras, I love videos, I love making content, and so having a viewfinder is by far the feature that I use the most on these glasses. The camera and the viewfinder, by far the most over anything else. And the viewfinder is decent. Like, it's really not bad. The colors are good. You can swipe between video or photos. You can also swipe over to your albums. There's a little icon in your album that says if you've sent the photo to your phone yet or not, so you know if it's stored on the glasses or if it's stored on your phone. Now, my biggest gripe with these, obviously, is the fact that you can't take horizontal photos or videos. I think that's stupid that they haven't allowed that yet. It's better than the Gen 1s where it was a square, but still kind of frustrating. But again, the viewfinder takes these glasses to the next level. I would even say that if you're buying any Meta smart glasses for photos and videos exclusively, like I have a friend that makes content exclusively with his Meta glasses, these are the ones to get. Don't even bother with the other ones because the viewfinder changes the game completely. Let's talk about another feature that actually does use the camera as well and the microphones, and that is captions. Now, you can actually get live captions of conversations right on your glasses display. It's really impressive. Now, not only can it caption what you're hearing from other people, but it can also live translate what you're hearing from other people. It's very limited at the moment. You have to download the languages that you want. It's like English, Spanish, and French, maybe one other, maybe German or something like that, but that's it. So if you want to talk to someone in Cantonese, not gonna happen, unfortunately. But it is a very cool feature, and just like the AirPods Pro 3s, which I'm actually reviewing at the moment, it's nice to have that on a piece of tech that you're wearing. It makes it very useful if you're, say, traveling. Now, again, it's only really useful if you're traveling in like France or Spain or Mexico or somewhere that they speak a language that, you know, is compatible with your glasses, but it's a nice feature to have. That being said, you need your phone as well in order to use it, and you have to download the language itself onto the phone, so still, if you don't have cell service and you're trying to use it, not gonna work for you. Now, in terms of actual usability, I haven't used it a huge amount. I've used it with videos because I don't have a lot of bilingual friends. I actually do, but they weren't available this week during the review. Generally, from what I can tell, it seems like it's translating correctly. I will say it's slower than I would like, but it gets the job done. So if you're in a pinch, you need Live Translate. I personally think Google's Live Translate on your phone is the best way to go. But if you don't have access to that, or if you have your glasses and want to specifically do it on your glasses, then sure, this is great. All right, so outside of the messaging apps, that's pretty much what you get on this pair of glasses. Now, when it comes to messaging on these glasses, it's mainly all live dictation. I believe there is a feature where you can like write with your hand specific letters, but I haven't been able to do that. I'll be real with you. I don't know how to get that activated. I saw on WhatsApp it's voice message and dictate, but that's it. On Instagram, same thing. From what I can tell, currently it doesn't seem like you can write out sentences with your hand yet, at least on this current software iteration. I'm almost certain that's coming. We've seen people do it. I know that this is capable of doing that, but right now it just seems like it's purely live dictation and voice messages. Some other features that these glasses have that are also on the other Meta Ray-Ban glasses, you've got Bluetooth speakers, you've got speakers that actually shoot directly into your ears and they sound decent. They're a little tinny and they can shake the arms of your glasses if you're listening very loudly. Of course, there's a lot of noise bleed because it's not like they're going into your ears. They're literally just speakers on the sides of your head. People will definitely hear what you're listening to or talking about or whatever the case may be. These glasses do sound good for voice calls. They're actually really great for voice calls. There's a lot of mics on these, so it picks up your voice really well, and they sound decent enough. I've done a lot of phone calls on these. I will say that whenever Zoom becomes a thing on these, you're only gonna get a POV view. You're not gonna be able to get an actual face view because there's just one camera kind of pointed this way. So there are limitations, but realistically, if you're doing a Zoom call, use your phone or your laptop. Unless this is all you got, in which case, then just do Zoom audio. But now let's talk about battery life, something that I've gotten a lot of questions about. So these glasses come with around a 2 to 4 hour mixed use battery life. I wore these every day, like I said, generally at the office or at home or whatever I was doing, filming videos, things like that. And when I was getting constant notifications or watching reels through messages, which again, you can only do through messages, which is so dumb. When you're using these a lot, you get closer to 2 hours. When you're using them mainly for just messaging here and there, you can get around 4 hours. Now, the nice thing is, if you have the case with you, you can charge them up throughout the day and you get an extra, I think it's around 8 hours is what they claim, of charge time, which is pretty impressive. So throughout the day, you are gonna have to take these off here and there, charge them up. Kinda sucks, but it is what it is. Honestly though, what I was expecting was way less. And when I first got these and I first put them on my face, there was like maybe 20% battery life left and it died on me really quick. But then once I charged them up and started to use them regularly from 100%, both the neural band and the glasses, because you have to charge up both, obviously, it got better. It's not amazing battery life, but it's impressive for what it is. Lastly, let's talk about design and usability. I have terrible eyes. In fact, I wear glasses every single day when I'm not wearing contact lenses. These are my glasses. They're not the prettiest, but they get the job done. I mainly just wear them at home. These are like a -6, maybe even more. I think maybe my left eye is like a little bit better than my right eye. I got the thinnest lenses you can get, and they still kind of peek out over the frame. Like the thinnest lenses you could get. I paid like an extra $200 to get thinner lenses. So I prefer to wear contacts. And for someone like me who wears contacts, these glasses are great, because I don't have an extra frame on my face. That being said, if you wear glasses, there is an option to put in prescription lenses. Now that will be more expensive and it's gonna take a lot longer to get them, but there is an option to do that, which is a huge plus. Now you might be saying to yourself, well, how does the screen look when you go outside? Like it's clear glasses, like when light hits them, you're not gonna be able to see anything. And that's true, if they stayed clear, you wouldn't be able to see anything. The good news is that these are actually transition lenses, so that when you walk outside, they become sunglasses. And because the lenses get pretty dark, not like super dark, not as dark as actual sunglasses, but they get pretty dark, it makes seeing the screen outside a lot easier. Now it's still not as nice as being in, a darker room, or just in a regularly lit room, but it's very usable. But let's talk about the design and the weight. So these glasses are significantly heavier than my regular glasses with even the super thick frames. In fact, let's weigh them really quick. I brought a scale. I'm gonna use a sneaker box because trying to weigh these on my hand is not the best way to do it because you need some sort of flat surface. I'm gonna weigh my glasses. They are 1.1 ounces. That's my glasses. Now, to weigh the Meta Ray-Ban displays, they are 2.3 ounces, so more than double. These are noticeably heavier on my face than my glasses, and I wear my glasses every single day, so I'm used to the weight. Now, someone who maybe doesn't wear glasses, like it's gonna be a pretty jarring feeling, but even as someone who does wear glasses, these are noticeably heavier. Now, I don't know if you noticed throughout the review, but I've been kind of pushing these up on my face. Now, to be fair, this room is hot, so I am kind of, I guess, sweatier. Not sweatier, I wouldn't say greasier either. There's no way to say this without sounding like disgusting. I'm a bit slipperier than usual. I don't know, it doesn't matter. But because of the weight, these do sometimes slide down my face more than I would like, especially if I'm exercising or doing something that I am actually sweating. Then it becomes almost unbearable because I'm constantly pushing these up. It's hard enough to wear my regular glasses, but these ones, like with my regular glasses, I can bend the back to actually get it to fit around my ear a bit better. These ones, doesn't really feel like you can do that. These feel like a hard plastic that you can't really bend. These ones have like this metal substrate that allow you to kind of bend it within the plastic. The only real time that you can wear these is if you're not sweating, which is frustrating. So if you're in an indoor environment or walking around or not emitting any kind of grease or sweat. That sucks, but it is what it is. Now the weight distribution on these glasses is pretty decent. Like it doesn't feel like it's overly heavy in the front or overly heavy in the back. Yes, they do slide forward, but that's probably just because they're glasses and I move my head. I don't think it's because the front is significantly heavier than the back. Now design-wise, these are funky. I'm not gonna lie to you. One of my good friends, Osman, put these on his face and he looks kind of normal because he wears very thick rimmed glasses. He's actually the co-founder of APTHCRY. If you haven't heard of APTHCRY, APTHCRY makes your sneakers favorite socks. I'm the other co-founder. We were both industrial designers. This was not supposed to turn into a promo, but it is a little bit. So we set out to create the world's best socks. They're incredibly comfortable, they're very breathable, and they match with like every pair of sneakers in your collection. We're also huge sneakerheads. So try out APTHCRY socks. Use code TECHFOWLER for $10 off of your first order. That's $10 off of one pair of socks or a $50 order of like 7 pairs of socks. It doesn't matter. Use code TECHFOWLER, get $10 off and try out the world's best socks. Back to what I was saying. I totally went off track there. He looks good in thick rim glasses, and these didn't look out of place because this is what he wears on a regular basis. I personally mostly wear contacts, and these look kind of weird on my face. Shoot, even my regular glasses, they're clear and the rims aren't that thick. So this is like a whole new look. Like I look like a fashion designer from
Edna Mode. And guess.
So they're not the most normal looking glasses in the world, but you do get used to them. The arms are also pretty thick as well. It's a very unique look, and I think for most people, it might not be for them. I think that it's kind of a trade-off. If you're willing to wear something that's a very different look for you, just to get that sort of extra feature of having a screen on your face, then sure, do it. But I do think it's gonna be a big adjustment. Now these glasses do come in 2 different colors. You've got this black shiny plastic, which is what I have. There's also a like brown matte sand color, I think is what it's called. That does look more natural. It is still just as thick, so it's still gonna be a thick pair of glasses, but it looks more natural. And I think on my skin tone and with this brown hat, it would actually tie in relatively well because I've got very pale skin, but the brown would look less obtrusive than this giant black frame on my face. So I don't know. The design is polarizing. That is a glasses joke, and I love it. I didn't even mean to make that pun, but fire pun. The glasses are polarizing. And unfortunately, the lenses are not. Another glasses joke there. All right, so to answer the question that you guys have all been waiting for, are the Meta Ray-Ban displays worth it? Now keep in mind, these are not easy to get. They currently resell for like $1,300 if you can get a pair, and they retail for $800. In their current form, a week after release, with the relatively limited amount of things that they can do, no. Absolutely not. Unless you are an early adopter, you need to have the newest tech, or you really love one of the features in particular, I don't think these are worth it. I think $800 is a huge amount of money to pay for something that doesn't do that much. Now, with that being said, I am planning to do an updated review in like 6 months whenever the App Store comes out and use these at their full potential, hopefully. And I think that review might have a different conclusion. But right now, unless you really want a viewfinder for your Meta Wayfarers, you're a content creator that uses just these glasses, or unless you want to just respond to WhatsApp messages, Instagram DMs, or Facebook Messenger, no, there's no reason why you should buy these. And I do think the longer you wait, the better they're gonna get. Not only software-wise, but also like the design's gonna get better. The next generation will look better. It will probably be smaller. Apple's gonna come out with one. I've heard that they've actually paused production on like the next generation Vision Pro and instead are working on smart glasses, which makes total sense. So I think if you're a normal person, wait. There's no reason to get these. I'll be real with you. If I didn't have a YouTube channel about tech, I wouldn't have gotten these either. As exciting as this technology is, and as good of a job as I think Meta did on these, not worth it right now. Just absolutely not. Now, I don't want to end things off on a negative note. These glasses are very, very cool, and they feel like they're straight out of the future, especially with the neural band. This works incredibly well. I wish I could use this for like other things, like controlling my computer. I'm not into implants. I don't want a Neuralink in my head. That's crazy to me. But this is cool. I'm about this. But I'm really, really impressed by how well this actually works. I think this is incredible. I think this is probably the coolest part of the entire tech thing because, like I said, I have the IMO lenses. The screen is cool. They do a lot of the same stuff, but their input method isn't as good. They have this ring. Again, we'll do a full review or a full comparison. It's just not as good. This is groundbreaking and next level. What I am happy about though is that a lot of the improvements or the things that I would change about these glasses are software improvements that can be done. Like there will be an app store on these. I think that's gonna be a huge improvement on these glasses. And I think depending on what the apps are, that might make these a must buy. But with that being said, let me know your thoughts on the Meta Ray-Ban displays. Are you planning to grab one for yourself? Are you excited about these? Do you already have one? Let me know all your thoughts and experiences and your comments in the comment section down below. I would love to know. I'm probably gonna do some follow-up videos on these, so if you have any questions, let me know. There is one piece of information that I wanted to relay to you guys if you watched my first Meta Ray-Ban video. I had read online that the glasses and the neural band are linked in a way that they can't be unlinked. So say you lost the neural band, you're kind of screwed. Turns out that's not true. You guys let me know in the comments, and I love reading your guys' comments and you guys letting me know when I'm wrong or when there's other information that you guys would like me to talk about. I really appreciate that. So that's a piece of information that I learned from the comment section. I double checked it. It's true. So if you watch that video and you think if you lost your neural band, you're screwed, turns out that's not the case. You can buy another neural band eventually. I don't know if you can do it now, but you'll be able to relink that and you're good to go. So please comment. I love your comments. I read your comments. Let me know your thoughts on these glasses. As always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't yet, and I'll see you all in the next one.